Hey, what's up everyone? Rob Brended here. I'm going to be talking about how to change your behaviors, and it's not like I'm giving you prescriptions or anything. It's just how I look at it and how I use it to change my behaviors, and maybe you'll find it interesting. I have lots of different thoughts about here at this, and this comes from working with a lot of clients, a lot of high performance athletes, and high performance businessmen and women. And so I just want to share my thoughts on this. It's something that I work on a lot for myself because I don't want to be conditioned by my ancestors and I don't want to say my parents. I don't want to blame them, but their parents and their parents and their parents. And these programs and tendencies come down and they form our characters, right? And that's our characters, and therefore our emotional anti-fragility or fragility and our limitations, and that creates an effect on our bodies. So when people say, oh, I've got hereditary thing, there's also hereditary non-physical things, not only genetics. So I gave a little talk on this on a webinar for my Meditation OS course this morning, and people resonated well, and found it very interesting, gave me a lot of feedback. By the way, I'm in a new apartment we have rented out, and you're going to love the view. So I'm very, very happy with this place. But can you see that? So it goes all the way down there. It's a little bit messy right now because we just moved in, but you can watch the sunrise over there in the morning while having a nice cup of Colombian coffee. Can't beat that. So I talked with my students about this morning. This was triggered by, I was talking with one of my very high net worth clients who mentioned about having regrets and not spending more time with his kids. And he said something that not triggered me, but it got me thinking. He said, I regret, I used to play Lego with my boy, and I wish I'd done more of that. And I wish I hadn't spent so much time away, building this huge financial legacy. But he felt obviously poor in terms of his emotional connection with his son. And then I went away from that call, high pressure call actually, but it was a good call. And I realized that when I'm with my 4-year-old, when she says, oh, let's play Playmobil or let's play Barbie, I go, and my face says it all, and I just don't give her any time. And then if I do play, I'm not really bothered. And so what I started to think was, what an amazing opportunity to play with my daughter. And when did I lose? Why do I behave that way? Why do I react that way? And I talked to my wife about it, and she said she also became aware that she did that, especially when it comes to Barbie, playing with Barbies. So number one, you have to become aware of your behaviors. Otherwise, they're unconscious, right? So I became aware that when my daughter wanted me to play dolls with her, I kind of lost interest, and I was just not bothered. And I started to think about it, like, where did this come from? Why do I have this? And so what I'm doing there is shining light into darkness. And the more I spend time and look at that puzzle, the more, bit by bit, it gives me insight into my behavior. And funny enough, just doing that changed my behavior to playing the dolls. And it just got me thinking about becoming aware of these behaviors that are very difficult to see, because our behaviors, our tendencies, we just take for granted. We just think that's how we are. But the moment we react a certain way, and it'll be learned, or it will be a coping mechanism or something. So then I started to think about other behaviors that I have, and now, so I'm just having a bit of a brain fart. I can't remember what the other one I was talking about. So there was and And funny enough, immediately I see another behavior, and I hadn't become aware of this. So with this new apartment, there are a few things that are not that need to be resolved, fixed. And so when I was speaking to my wife, because she was going to be speaking to them today, I said, have you know, I was quite aggressive and said, listen, and quite personal. I took it personally, like, you know, they need to do this and that. And I could feel that my body was prepping for combat almost, like, yeah, they need it. And I was aggressive in the way I was saying it. I was like, why is that happening? Why am I reacting this way? And I realized that what it was coming to was not a confrontation, but a negotiation. Like, I had to negotiate. I wanted something. What if I didn't get it? What if they take, what if that, you know, and the mind starts going, hey, what if they take advantage of you? What if? So it was my behavior was prepped through whatever reason. And my wife has just finished a very good masterclass course, which, by the way, masterclass, you pay $200, you get 2 memberships. But $200, the course, the negotiation course for everyone is worth way more than that. It's highly valuable. So, you know, if anyone says $200 is expensive, doesn't understand value. So the negotiation course is brilliant. And I've read the book. So the book is Never Split the Difference by Gary Voss, I think. Very, very good. Principles are very sound, simple, just needs effort. You know, you need to put the practice into to start using it. But I read that book, so I understand this course, and I was listening to the course yesterday. And what it is when there's a negotiation, it's never personal, but personal when you get emotional is because you're getting triggered, because there's some sort of weakness or some sort of glitch or trigger there for you. But when you understand the rules of negotiation, it becomes very non-emotional, and you understand the rules of the game. Yeah, so well worth it. So again, I became aware of that I was prepping for like a confrontation, and I don't like that behavior. I mean, it's 8 o'clock in the morning and I'm already getting out of my flow present state because of this potential problem. So again, it's you know, becoming aware of how you react to certain things. Now, this brings me on to my main realization. This happened, a few weeks back. So I'm labeling myself a little bit, but I'm dyslexic, which is a gift. It's just a different way my brain processes information. And I've worked on this quite a bit, but I'm probably going to be working with I'll pay a coach or an expert in this dyslexia to help me work through it. So I'm very good at patterning information, so I can talk on a video really easy. I don't have to prepare. I don't know how good it is, but I'm just easy. There's certain things with my work. I'll sit in front of someone. It could be like a gold medal athlete or, a top CEO, billionaire who is high pressure situation, and I'm able to pick up on information that's not available to them. I'm able to guide them and show them options in their thinking that they can't see. So that's my skill set. But then if you ask me to put a system into place, and I'm talking something as simple as planning the day, I can't do it, and it's extremely stressful for me. It's just my brain doesn't work that way. So planning things, even talking about it is, my brain's just finding it quite difficult. So at school, I really, really struggled. It's like poison school. I just fall asleep. Reading a book, I fall asleep. It's too slow. The information needs to come at me, usually best in audio while I'm doing something. So these are things that I've learned. I've helped a lot of clients, children as well, by kind of identifying that they usually have some sort of dyslexic traits. So you can actually speed up the speed of the audio, and that goes in better for me. So when I'm talking to engineers, I love engineers thinking and the way they can use first principles and systemize everything, but they're very slow. And I'm like, oh, talk faster. You say something, they go, you know, I'm not saying Elon Musk, but he looks up and contemplates things before he speaks. And that drives me nuts. But everyone's different, right? And, you know, I'm not Elon Musk. He's amazing. But I have my own skill sets and gifts. And I'd love to work with him. It'd be fascinating. So what I realized is with being a father is there are certain situations that really stress me and I lose my shit. It's something I don't like. I get really stressed when I'm with, not when I'm with one of my daughters, but then you add another daughter and I'm trying to protect, like I'm like I have one and then I have to think about another one, and then I'm having to plan, you know, feeding and putting clothes on, and that is like 10 out of 10 stress for me. As whereas for my wife, who's very systemed, finds that simple. Now you might have some people saying, yeah, but you're a man and you can't multitask. No, I'm talking about just the planning of the day. And so now with my wife, I've discussed this in great detail, and it was very difficult for me to admit that, you know, I really struggle with that. And I explained, you know, when you're telling me what to do, can you draw it out so that I can see it in my head? And when I'm with the girls, I need to be in an area that I don't have to worry any threat, you know, sort of like in an enclosed space. That I'm okay with. So what I'm really saying is I have a tendency with my dyslexia I prefer working very spontaneously with very high pressure and lots of information and patterning it. But if you ask me to plan out something, I'm going to really struggle. So there are tendencies, but there's also the way your brain works, and you need to modify that or come up with structures that work for you. When I was at Fulham Football Club, and I was like assistant to the first team fitness coach and also the academy. I was, you know, in charge of fitness for the reserves, who were all pros, and then also had to work with the academy as well. And I stressed me out so badly because the head fitness coach was an asshole. He was an absolute psycho, but also he was anal French, like everything systemized, and it was to the second that everything had to be planned out, and I just couldn't. And I thought it was just stupid, and I couldn't, you know, it was actually not meant for me. And I actually struggled with that at Chelsea because they wanted loads of medical records written, but I was good at the actual training and seeing injury possibilities and the patterning, but I wasn't good at the anal medical stuff, right? So what I used to do with the fitness for the sessions when I had to take them for the first team, say, he was so anal that everything had to be moved and and timing was like to the second. So I had to have matchstick boxes and try and work it out in advance, whereas someone who doesn't have dyslexia would just have done it with no problem. When I was a personal trainer and when I was in football as well, the footballers take the piss. I couldn't count to 10. I would mix the numbers up, and I'm jumping around a little bit here, but people would just laugh because I'd be going 7, 8, 7, 8, and they'd be going, "You taking the piss? Are you trying to get extra?" I couldn't count to 10. So you imagine going through school where you think you're as dumb as anything because you can't count to 10. And funny enough, with my daughter Lima, she is like, I'm completely biased, but she's like, people hear her talking and they're just like, what? How old is she? 4? And she speaks German, English. She's getting really good at Spanish now. Her vocabulary is ridiculous. She comes out with, you know, I'll point at the sky and she'll go, oh, look, it's a space rocket with astronauts in it and everything. She was like, so I'm a little bit biased about her, but what I did notice is she's very, very perceptive and already seeing patterns, which is what I've always done. So we were walking along and she said, "Daddy, why does that man's foot turn inward slightly?" I was like, "Oh, Daddy's girl," because that's all I was doing when I was a kid. I was like picking up on like, "Oh, that person's pregnant." No one has said anything, or, you know, just pattern recognition. And what I just realized talking to you now on this video is when she counts to 10, she can't do it. She goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. She'll jump numbers and flip them. And I'm realizing that she's probably has a tendency like her dad. She also has a histamine problem like me, and that's more hereditary. That's a SNP, you know, dirty gene, and so does my other little girl, unfortunately. So that limits the amount of histamine foods you can eat, but that's another story. So coming back to really the main thing here is becoming aware of your tendencies and your behaviors. When you know you have a tendency, well, then you know that's knowledge and you can start doing something about it. If you overreact or your behavior is a little bit out of balance, there's going to be something deeper there. You know, that's what I work with people on. If I can look at the underlying reasons for that and resolve or help someone resolve that. But just looking at your own behaviors, and starting to ask why do I behave that way? Your physical intelligence and your insight, which is you get your answers, your intuitive answers, the real deep answers from your physical intelligence, not from your mind. Your mind's not there to help you. You can use it, but it's really limiting you. It's kind of on your shoulder saying, "Oh, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do this, this is bad, you should be doing more, blah blah blah." So that's why you need to look after your body, and you need to spend time every day being quiet to allow yourself to connect with that innate intelligence. Yeah. So you become aware of your behaviors. That's half the battle, and then you can look further and ask yourself why. And then it's also learning new strategies. So in terms of if you have trouble with confrontations, really it's always a negotiation. If you fear getting beaten up, then understand how fighting, you know, works, and get knowledgeable about that, because humans fight. Everyone fights. If the electricity turns off tomorrow and we go back to the dark ages, you're gonna have to fight. Yeah, I don't want to bring the conversation that way, but so it's just looking at improving and understanding, getting more truth in different areas. Yeah, it comes down to truth always. So know that you have tendencies, know that you're wonderful, you're unique, and find what works for you. And just quickly, I had a student of mine who was doing some trading, and he wasn't doing so well at it, but he in other aspects, he's got a wonderful personality. He's funny, fast, he's really smart. He was like a fish trying to climb a tree. You know, it wasn't, traders are usually very engineered, kind of they like very systemized lines and everything. He's more dyslexic and very good in front of camera, and he's recently just launched his own business online where he's doing videos and helping people in crypto, and he's brilliant at it, and his videos are amazing, and it's easy for him. So find where your ease is, find where you're effortless, find where your own genius is, and we all have genius. Just got to work on it and uncover it and bring it out. So I'm just gonna finish with showing you, let me just show you this nice little view. So you can see all the way down there and all the way down the other coast, and that is one hell of a view for having coffee in the morning. So big thank you for watching this. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. That really helps me get my message out, and which is something I really want to do, because a lot of people kind of suffering and don't realize that there's a better better way, you know? Okay, thanks so much for listening, and talk to you all soon. Take care.